Hello, this is my vlog for Standards 3 and 4. This is my second attempt. My first vlog was not very satisfactory. Um, I thank Kate for pointing out my errors. So let's go. Standard 3, equity, inclusiveness, inclusive responsibility. How do effective leaders ensure that each student is treated fairly, respectfully, and with an understanding of each student's culture context? Our school is led primarily by a mission and vision statement that is um, pretty powerful and meaningful, and is used quite often in discussions and uh, school gatherings, whether it be secondary meetings, head of department meetings, leadership meetings. We also have a international teacher um, staff guide, or what we would consider to be um, kind of our bylaws as international representatives of Nord Anglia. And among the things on there is the sentence that says every learner strives to achieve personal excellence and contributes to global community. And it continues on to talk about how we need to make sure that every single learner at our school is treated with respect and given the opportunity to even exceed their expectations. Also, as a head of department, it is the expectation for me to lead as a role model and to regularly check with teachers in my department to make sure that they are supporting students as best as they can. How do effective leaders ensure that each student has equitable access to effective teachers, learning opportunities, academic, social support, and other resources necessary? Again, as the head of department, it is the expectation that I meet with members of leadership and our leader of learning support to make sure that all students are getting their needs and the support that they need. When we have our head of department meetings, especially at the beginning of the year, we go around and make sure that any students that are of question, that we are reaching out to the various members of leadership and the support staff to make sure that they are getting their needs met. We also have a very well planned and well orchestrated registration activities and program at our school, where the teachers and the students meet individually and collectively. Same with our guidance department. They meet with the students collectively and individually to make sure that the students are all being challenged and are moving through grade to grade, and trying to do maybe some classes that will move them, not necessarily keep them in their comfort zone, but move them to an area where they are more challenged. Again, our international teacher guide um, really lays out how we need to be engaged with our students, and we need to be a champion of inclusion, and we need to be moving as positive role models through our everyday practices. How do effective leaders develop student policies and address student misconduct in an unbiased manner? We have an intervention coordinator at our school, and we have grade level leaders. I will be the grade level leader for ninth grade next year, so I'm transitioning into that role. Um, and then, along with being head of department, we do talk about discipline. We do talk about students being on a kind of a watch list that we have. We do have a very well-constructed progression of disciplinary procedures, and the students are all well aware of this, and the meetings that take place with the students are done in confidence. And we do have a pretty strong coaching practice at our school to really try to move the students. You know, if they are in a level one, they stay in a level one. They don't. We try to really minimize any escalation. How do effective leaders promote the preparation of students to live productively and contribute to the diverse culture contexts of the global society? Our mission and vision statements talk about global community over and over again, and it also talks about the idea of understanding world cultures and citizenship. As a member of the advisory committee, we focus on the school-wide learning outcomes, and our swallow number 4, intercultural competence. Learners will appreciate and reflect on the influences of cultures in their interactions with peers and diverse backgrounds. We're moving that more and more to a front and center within our advisory program. We're currently working on, how can we best start to move them out around our community, and how can we best also really start to work into a service learning idea. We are an international school, but we don't have as many international students as we used to, so that is becoming a little bit more of a challenge. Our student body is changing, but it is definitely something that we are working towards becoming more and more understanding, and really trying to engage our students in these types of thinking practices. Standard 4, curriculum instruction and assessment. How do effective leaders implement coherent systems of curriculum, instruction, assessment that promote the mission, vision, and core values of the school, embody high expectations for student learning, align with academic standards, and are culturally appropriate? So we have many things to talk about here, but one of the things I think I will point out is that we are a school that is aligned and a member of WASC, and that is kind of an overseeing body that we really adhere to, and we take their bits of information and their suggestions to heart. And we are currently um, in our strategic plan, and also priority 2 of my school improvement plan. We are looking at more of a data-driven look, and we are definitely promoting um, our core values. We really look at how each individual student and how is our student body changing? What does the cohort look like? And how can we best meet the needs? We are seeing a real influx right now in grade 8 and grade 9, and we are moving to have kind of an international school boot camp at the end of the summer this year to try to get the kids ready to go and make sure that they are they understand what we are doing, and we are moving through so that they also trying to educate them on our academic standards. How do effective leaders promote instructional practices that are consistent with the knowledge of child learning and development, effective pedagogy, and the needs of each student? So if you look at our Nord Anglia, um, kind of what we are moving through this year in our CRC, our curriculum review cycle, in alignment with WASC, we are really moving to standardize our teaching practices. We're going through each and individual unit and looking at the standards, and making sure that we are, not only teaching them, but are we assessing them appropriately? Do we have the correct number of formatives to in line with with each summative? And as a head of department, that has been a big focus of mine. I've been going through all of the grade books, Power School grade books for each of the members of my social studies department, and making sure that we are aligned in our practices and our labeling and our communication with our students, giving appropriate feedback, meaningful feedback, not just, a couple words here or there. How do effective leaders promote the effective use of technology in the service of teaching and learning? Well, we have several guidelines that have to deal with this. We have guidelines as far as the rights and responsibilities for students, and the rights and responsibilities are also, teachers also have a guide that we need to follow as far as the use of technology. And, the student handbook is pretty clear about whether or not, when students can have their phones out, and when they cannot. Um, and probably the big news on campus right now is that we have blocked WeChat between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And that is in large part due to our boarding students. They have a guided study time, GST, between 6 and 8 p.m. every day. Well, not on Friday, Monday through Thursday. And we have noticed that they are wasting a lot of their time in there on WeChat. So we have blocked it, and they are not allowed to use or have their cell phones out. So that is a big movement. We are continually trying to make sure that students are using electronics appropriately. Um, and the struggle is very real with that. That is a battle that will go on for a very long time. How do effective leaders select and plan for school-wide assessments to evaluate student learning development and academic performance? We finished up day 2 of RAP testing today, and there was a lot of leadership and communication that went into that, and a lot of guidance from our curriculum and our counseling department. And we're still struggling with the concepts and the use of map testing. Are we really using the data appropriately? Does it really justify taking that much time away from instructional time to engage in map testing? With our changing cohort, is the data still accurate? These are all questions that we are struggling with, and as a head of department, um, you know, we talk about it quite a bit, and my personal feelings are that map testing um, is not very useful for us right now because, like I said, our cohort is changing, and we don't really have a handle on, how does that intersect with are the students not doing well on map testing because their learning level or their English, their understanding of the concepts is not where it needs to be, or is it that they just don't understand the questions because their English level is very low? So, uh, we continue to move through that. And as a head of department and, in my engagements with leadership, we are very active and we do go back to our mission and vision statement. Are we doing our best to serve each and every individual student, or are we just setting some students up to fail because their English level is not where it needs to be to engage in these various types of testing? How do effective leaders use assessment data appropriately within technical limitations to monitor students' progress and improve instruction? Kind of a redundancy of what I've been saying, but goal 2 of my school improvement plan that I've constructed is based on our strategic plan, and we are moving with our curriculum coordinator, heads of departments, um, and we are moving to better understand not only map testing, RAP testing, and WIDA scores, but also looking at our standards and our use of standards and our assessment of standards to try to move it all in line vertically and horizontally, to find out if we are, really understanding who our students are and where we are going, and also understand better where we have been so we can avoid some of the pitfalls. And, COVID had a lot to do with that as well. 2.5 years of on off online instruction and testing takes a toll, and maybe we did take a couple steps backwards.